So we have another presentation, and it is coming from Mr. Jeffrey Cole with the Kiewit Corporation, and he is their commercial manager.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Jeff Cole with Kiewit, representing the Key Bridge project. I'm the commercial manager for the project. So this morning I'm going to cover a little bit about Kiewit to give you an introduction of who Kiewit is and what we do. Then we'll talk about the project and where the project is. And then we'll go into procurement opportunities that are both near term and in the coming months. So a little bit about Kiewit. We, if you looked at the 2025 ENR top contractor list, we were number 3 on that list for 2025. 2024, we were number 2. So we're a very large North American contractor and number 1 in transportation. So locally, we've got offices in Maryland and Virginia, and we're doing multiple different markets. You can see that we're into transportation, water, wastewater, oil and gas, power, mining, building. We do a little bit of everything. So a very large company with a lot of opportunities. We do have a long history in the Baltimore and DC region. So I'll just point out, we're also working on the Frederick Douglass Tunnel on Package B, locally here in Baltimore. We're working on the Ellicott City North Tunnel for Howard County. And we also have a project at the University of Maryland for their in the power division called NextGen. But we also have a longer history here supporting the Chesapeake Bay bridges. We've done a lot of work for WMATA. Recently, we had a series of 4 projects upgrading the platforms down in DC and Maryland and Virginia for WMATA, and as well as the Yellow Line Tunnel. We have experience working at BWI, and then kind of going further into the past, Fort McHenry Tunnel. That was quite a few years ago. And then even in the early days of WMATA, back when they were first building the system in the 70s, we were involved. So I did want to highlight some core values of Kiewit: people, integrity, excellence, and stewardship. I would just point out under the integrity front, we definitely try to use integrity in all our businesses with our subcontractors, treat them fairly, have open and honest communication with them, pay them on time. That's an important part of our culture. And then stewardship is another important area to highlight. We try to invest ourselves in the community that we're working in and making investments in that community and partnering with community organizations to help develop things. We did want to highlight safety. If you work with Kiewit, you'll understand that safety is a top priority with us. We want everybody working on our jobs to go home at the end of the day, back to their families, in the same way they came to work. We have very high standards for the subcontractors and subconsultants who support us, but that's not to say we don't help them, but we'll impose the same safety standards on our subcontractors that we have for ourselves, but we'll provide a lot of help and guidance, and we really try to bring in everybody and every employee, no matter who they work for on the project, into our safety culture and that safety mindset. Non-discrimination. Kiewit is committed to an inclusive employment and business practices that reflect equal opportunity, respect, and accountability. Now let me get into the Key Bridge rebuild a little bit. So this is, as Bruce mentioned earlier, is a progressive design build project. That's kind of a new term, a new sort of procurement method for a lot of people. What that means is MDTA is the owner, and I didn't point out earlier, but as a design firm, Kiewit is number 15 in ENR ratings of design firms. So it's kind of unique in the infrastructure realm that we're not just the builder, we're also the designer. So on large design build projects such as this one, Kiewit is actually the design firm as well. So we're the engineer of record for Key Bridge, and we're also the contractor. We have a project labor agreement executed for the project. So let me highlight again, progressive design build means that we started this project in September of last year with 0% design done. In fact, it wasn't even an understanding of what kind of new bridge to build yet. So part of that was working in partnership with MDTA to determine the best type of bridge to build. We called it the proof of concept, and then to design it, and then start working through a cost estimate to price the bridge. Some of MDTA's project goals for the rebuild. Collaboration is an important goal. Partnership, we're partnered with them as Kiewit, but they're also partnering with the community. The schedule is vitally important for Key Bridge. Safety, quality, cost, and then aesthetics. So we wanted a visually attractive structure, which came into play in the early days of our contract as we were determining what kind of bridge to build. So everybody knows that in March 2024 is when the Key Bridge came down, the existing Key Bridge. So progressive design build, we've mentioned that, but let me point out that right now we're in phase 1 of that progressive design build, which means it's the project development services. So we're designing the bridge and we're estimating the cost to build the new bridge. Then we'll go into phase 2, which is project delivery services, a separate contract. A little more detail on the division between phase 1 and phase 2. I will say that it looks like a contract's been agreed for early works packages. It hasn't been signed yet, but there's a contract modification that will allow, once we work through and get approved work orders from MDTA, us to do early works packages. And I'll go into that a little bit in a minute. We also are working on our subcontracting plan, and in the coming months to support our estimating effort, we will be going out with solicitations and big packages, which I'll go into more detail to help us price the job and the cost for phase 2. And obviously, interface coordination and community outreach is an important part of what we're doing. I will highlight in phase 1 right now, we've probably got about 30 different DBE sub-consultants and subcontractors supporting the project. So there's already a fairly major effort, and that's only going to grow over time. Phase 2 is going to be all about project delivery, and Kiewit will have to reach an agreement with the MDTA. We'll have to come to terms on the price and the schedule to build the bridge, and then there'll be another contract modification to do the phase 2 project delivery services, and that's actually finalizing the design and building the bridge. So key milestones. So Kiewit was awarded this contract in September 2024, or we commenced work in September 2024. Then we started in the latter part of 24 on that proof of concept design. We've gotten through that, and now we're in the design phase. Now, I think Bruce mentioned this earlier, part of the design phase is field investigation. So we investigated things in the river, we did geotechnical borings. We have uncovered some things, so the design phase is stretching out a little longer than what was initially, I think, at some of the initial presentations. And you may have already seen some solicitations that the time frames have shifted to the right a little bit based on the design effort that we're progressing. As we complete the design, we'll be using those design drawings to estimate the costs of rebuilding the bridge. And we'll also be going out to the marketplace with solicitations to get support for that cost estimating effort. That's going to come towards the latter part of this year and into 2026. Right now, we did get an agreement with the state to do a test pile procurement and installation program. That's ongoing work that we have, and it is underway right now. We have a trestle procurement effort, but bid packages just went out on Friday for that effort. And let me highlight that if you want to get access to what we're bidding, what work we're bidding out, we have a table out there with a QR code that will get your name on a list, and then you'll get every solicitation and procurement opportunity that occurs on the project in Key Bridge. So I encourage you, if you haven't done it already, to make sure you sign up for our list. We'll also be working with ensuring that anybody who's MDOT DBE certified, this is a federal project, so our goal is all related to MDOT DBE certification. So if you don't have that certification, this is a multi-year project. I encourage you to start to get that certification now if you want to support the project. But anybody who is MDOT DBE certified and has a NICS code applicable to the work we're soliciting will also get and be included in that solicitation opportunity. And again, the trestle procurement, that just went out last week, and that would be an early works package we want to perform. Demolition, so there's demolition work on that existing bridge. We've actually done some open procurements for some of the demolition opportunities, but again, that's another early works package before we get the phase 2 agreed. We do have this contract to progress early works. The main ones that have been identified so far are that trestle procurement, the demolition, and then we'll also be procuring some long lead items for phase 2. And then the major bridge construction, and that's really going to get underway in 2026. So just giving you a procurement overview. So this is active work that's near term for us. So the test pile installation, some upcoming opportunities are associated with, we need some divers to support the efforts, tugboats and crew boats, and marine mammal monitors. This is work that hasn't already been awarded or procured. The demolition area, we've got saw cutting, concrete and steel disposal, trucking, steel fabrication, small tools and equipment, and miscellaneous labor. And then the trestle installation, again, a package just went out on Friday for that. Fabrication of the steel, the trestle pile, crane mat supply and installation. We'll have opportunities for welders, boat support, trucking, and a staging area, all associated with that trestle installation. So be on the lookout for solicitations with that effort, because that's near term. Again, here's another depiction of the project phases. We're right in the middle of phase 1. The early works contract is imminently going to be signed. It was approved by the MDTA board last week. And it's been improved on the Kiewit side, so we just are in the process of getting that executed. And then phase 2 of the project, that's going to start in 2026. So we will be seeking to engage firms whose services align with our phase 2 scope of work. I think, I've kind of already mentioned this. The potential opportunities for DBE are approaching $1 billion for phase 2, so it's a significant effort. We've got to do this cost estimate for our phase 2 costs. Getting good quotes from the broad community is going to be an important part of that. More on that in a minute. So we'll be issuing our bid documents will be based, we've got to progress the design to 50 to 70%, and then we'll be issuing those in progress designs, kind of at freezing the design at that 50 to 70% level, and then we'll be going out to bid to get pricing to support our cost estimate the latter part of 2026. Our DBE participation goals, again, I think I mentioned this already, we're focused on MDOT DBE certification. It looks like we'll have a 21% goal for phase 2 and a 21% goal for the early works packages. We're currently got a 26.53% goal for the current phase one scope of work that we're performing. So this is the phase two bid opportunities. This is what's coming out in the latter part of 2026. Will probably be coming out in waves, and I think I would encourage you to get a copy of the presentation so you can go through the details. But they'll be coming out in waves. This was the first wave. We gave everyone a heads up. We originally thought this would be coming out in July. It's been delayed several months because some of the issues that we've uncovered in field investigations that I mentioned earlier. So that's been delayed a few months. If you saw that communication regarding, this is the same group of packages we originally thought was going to come out in June, is now shifted to the latter part of this year. And then there's another tranche of packages that will be coming after that first tranche, again, to support phase two and the pricing for phase two. This will be coming in late 2025 and into early 2026. So we've got a lot of potential packages, a lot of different NICS codes involved in this. And I will say, I know there have been discussions earlier about third tier opportunities. I think when we get into a project this size in phase two, we'll be working with MDTA, but I would say we will be subcontracting sizable enough packages that will have flow down requirements in those packages for our subcontractors for the large packages to have their own DBE goal within that. So we'll be flowing down DBE goal requirements to that. So we do expect that there will be third tier opportunities when we get into phase two. Again, a long list, so I would encourage you to go through the presentation to get a sense of the full list. There is some time, so if you're not DBE certified now, you have some time to work on it. So just a little bit on our process when we do go out for bid. And if you're having trouble with this, like if you think you should have received a package and you didn't, come see me after this meeting. But we use a software called B2G now to target all the NICS codes within the MDOT certification database, so that when we solicit a package, anybody with that NICS code should get a copy of it. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, anyone who signed up to be on our KeyBridge list should be getting a copy of the presentation, of the solicitation as well. And I will say, I mentioned these other projects going on in the Baltimore area. If you're interested in the Amtrak Frederick Douglass Tunnel project, that has its own information that you can sign up for as well. We can give you that after this meeting if you're interested in that project. We do send out direct email. That's right there for our scope specific bidders list, and we are notifying community organizations and try to get them involved so that there's a broad communication and everybody's aware of the work that's coming down the road. And we do keep up a website where we'll have announcements on that. The QR code on our material outside has the link to that website.
Is that the KeyBridge Rebuild website?
Yes, it's a KeyBridge Rebuild project website, and there's a QR code that if you go out and look at our material in the hallway there, it will get you an access directly, a link to that website. And so, once we send out an invitation to bid, and you prepare, we'll give you a deadline to submit those proposals by. It's just like a state procurement. You'll have a deadline, and then we'll receive those packages, we'll review them, and then we'll do best value awards, and potentially have a period of negotiations, and then we'll try to debrief those firms that aren't selected. Yes.
if I didn't see the service, on this, the service I provide on the slide before, who do I contact or what do I do? Because I assume that for the Key Bridge, you would need videography to tell the story, photography for day-to-day, tracking. What would I do if I didn't see my service on that list?
Well, you can reach out to us. We have an email,
Yeah.
Rebuild Key Bridge email website that you can send us an email. We'll evaluate that. We'll meet with firms that may be providing something that's a unique service that may not necessarily be in our procurement. We have met with some firms that are doing exactly what you're doing. My executive director, Wayne Thomas, is very open to meeting with DBE subs who may be providing a unique service that would be beneficial to the project. So again, repeating, to get access to our bid opportunities, complete that subcontract questionnaire. That QR code on our material and on our business cards has the information of the direct link to submit this questionnaire. And you can also create an account with Building Connected that will allow you to see Kiewit opportunities, not just on Key Bridge, but elsewhere throughout the country, throughout North America, really. And so now I'll open it up to questions. Yes, sir.
PLA, which means a union, correct?
That's correct.
So any of the smaller companies that might come in, are they going to be outside of that spectrum?
Now, the PLA is specifically accounted for the fact that the project has a DBE goal. So we do have exceptions within that PLA to allow for DBE participation if the DBE is not union.
Yeah. We run into that problem with the South Capitol Street Bridge.
Okay.
So if we're able to get it with the signs, they just were able to get that part of the union. So, right now, would this be considered more? This is almost like a once in a lifetime type of situation for a big job like this. It's behind closed gates, practically. Is there going to be limited stuff for traffic control until the very bitter end of this job? And you got road markings for the bridge deck, signs, obviously. It's going to be limited in sort of scope for traffic control.
Yes, I mean, I think so. For traffic control, it'll be fairly limited until the back end of the project, but then there will definitely be some needs for traffic control.
Can you tell me how the construction management and inspection side of it is working? This is the construction part of it. What about the construction management and inspection of the actual construction?
Yes, so we'll be performing the quality inspections will be done by Kiewit, so there will be the potential that we need support in that effort.
And that's going to be out in the phase 2?
Yes, that would be in phase 2. And there may be some requirements in some of these early work packages as well. The scope for early works packages will still need to be developed and jointly agreed with MDTA, and the costs for those need to be negotiated, but there may be some requirements that come into play. We don't have our contract finalized for phase 2. So there's still some things to be determined in what will be in and out or out of that contract, and what will be our scope versus MDTA's scope in performing.
Thank you.
But they already procured two GEC CMR contracts, right?
They did.
Yeah, so it's already been procured for the
It's already
CMR.
been
Yeah, two GEC contracts, CMR contracts.
They have 3 separate
Or was it 2 or 3,
CMI
I
firms,
forget,
yeah.
maybe 3, yeah, they already did that. On the MDTA part of the inspection.
Hi, Kiana from Clean Construction Management. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the cost estimating services that you may be needing at the end of the year?
Yes, so we actually had a solicitation to bring on board cost estimators to support the cost estimating effort. That's been delayed. We were actually looking to get quantity takeoff personnel and estimators. So if you're talking about specific people to basically complement our team, we did have that need We'll still have that need. It's likely been postponed several months because of the design stretched out a bit. But I would encourage you to look at our solicitation. So if you're interested in like providing estimator personnel, Kiewit's going to want to maintain tight control over cost estimating, but we are looking at having support personnel with quantity takeoffs and support the estimating effort. But we also will be going out for pricing to subs to get quotes for pricing based on this 50 to 70% design. That's what's going to come out in the later part of the year.
Do you know when you anticipate the quantity takeoffs services will be needed?
I would say in late Q.
Posted, I should say, when you're gonna post it.
Likely in Q4 2025. So we'd already posted one, and we got a whole bunch of positions we actually posted to support us in phase one. We're going to bring on board some of those positions. The estimators have had to be delayed because of the need for doing the estimate has gotten postponed a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Jess, do you require your contractors to, I don't know what the right word is, but register with Kiewit or pass some sort of training or something like that, so they can bid
Like a
with you?
pre-cert?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
There
I
will
know
be.
like some other of the larger primes, they have some requirements that their contractors have to meet.
I think for
Or
some
some training.
for some of the more complicated packages and during phase two, there will be pre-cert requirements, and we do have certain standards for seeing your safety. The details will be provided in the solicitation of exactly what we need, but there will be meeting our safety standards as well and seeing some of your current performance.
Yes, sir, and forgive me because I was missing a big piece of this, but we, again, I don't know what you heard over here, but we have case studies that show that was paid for by agencies throughout the state of Maryland that proves that there's preventative maintenance solutions out there that it's not necessarily going to be asked for in the bids, but we were wondering if we could meet with somebody within Kiewit to say, hey, look, this is for the heavy duty equipment that takes diesel fuel. Is there an opportunity there where we can share analytics because it's cost savings?
Yeah, let's talk after this meeting. We've got an equipment manager who's already on board the project, and he would be kind of our subject matter expert.
That's what I want to speak to, my man. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Is it possible that you will be using two small businesses for the same type of work, considering the huge amount of work that is there?
I hope so.
Yes, for sure. It's a significant amount of work out there over multiple years, and we understand. There's probably not certain packages one firm may not be able to solely complete. So we understand that we may need to. We're going to try to subdivide our packages to a level that will, facilitate the best participation possible.
Two questions. The PLA with the union requirement, is there going to be a separate, whether it's done by the state or yourself, session? Because that's a whole other animal. Anybody who's had work on, I'm from Boston originally, so I know just a little bit about it. But with the PLA, because as DDEs, signing the union agreements is next to impossible because you're geographically diverse. You just simply can't. So then you're cut out. Hopefully you all have taken that into account.
And the PLA agreement does take that into account. I'm not the expert on the PLA or labor agreements, but maybe that would be a worthwhile session if we just have a session about the PLA and working with the unions and how the work split between unionized work and the DB community.
And my second question is, you guys have alluded to it here, not really stepping around it, but you've spoken to it about some of the challenges you've had, particularly with the changing Tapsco River bottom. I heard somebody say that, and how that changed the design. And I imagine your demo and removing that material maybe just a little more complicated than maybe anybody thought, perhaps. That being said, are there any other challenges you guys see coming forward in the future that we all can kind of know about and get prepared for? Because we've been, like, for the last 6 months, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on? And we understand you guys were probably trying to figure it out, everybody was trying to figure it out themselves. This is once in a lifetime, what's going on right here. But are there any challenges coming on in the future that we can start putting our thinking caps on and trying to figure out so we can be of service to you all in the state of Maryland? Thank you.
Question.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be, and I think we try to do open solicitations. So, if we need help in overcoming an issue, we may well look for our solicitation packages. If you provide a certain level of expertise, let's talk to make sure that, we can communicate with you. So if we think we need your expertise. But I would say on this, there will be surprises, and there'll be surprises over the years, that things that we didn't realize were there, and surprises that come along. And I guarantee more will happen. But we did a big part of the phase 1 has been field investigation. We've completed a lot of it, and hopefully have uncovered some of the major issues right now.
Did you work on the big dig?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Back
yeah?
when $15 billion used to be a lot of money.
Wow.
All right, thank you.
Are we still on track for October? Is it 28 for completion? Is that what it?
That's the state's goal.
May not be the reality goal.
That's what I've been telling people, so I won't have to answer for a lot of folks, I guess. No, that's still our.
Is
So,
that, yeah, okay. Thank
Thank
you.